What is up, my little Deinos? Vepsis here, your coach of the Helsinki Adrigas, and I'm here for my first game in the NPL tryout tournament in my pool when I'm going up against the Minnesota Mawiles and their coach JDMI. If you haven't seen the draft recap, what I drafted and why, which I uploaded a few days ago for this tournament itself, the link for that video should be down below in the description. And the question of the day, which I'm gonna be having for every single upload for this tournament, will be that which mon do you expect from the team I drafted to be the leading kill leader on my team, no matter how long we are gonna be end up having to be part of this tournament or how far we are gonna be getting. Which one do you expect it to be the kill leader in our team itself? So answer that. I'm gonna be having this question of the day also as a comment down below, so you can answer below it as well, and then we can kind of compare the results and kind of see that who is gonna be right or wrong and why you think as you do. My obvious answer would be as a guess, and what I expect people to be guessing the most would be Tapu Koko, which I drafted first overall, but there might be some other mons which can surprise and be the kill leaders instead, and I'm gonna be curious to see which mons you're gonna be voting for that. But in any case, the matchup what I have in hand going into this game and what JDMI drafted is gonna be as followed. He drafted Tapu Fini, Guardsop, Mega Venusaur, Cresselia, Arcana, which is one of his C captains, Cobalion, Raikou, which is his second C captain, Leavanny, Bishop and Claydol. So that is his full roster. And my C captains, as a reminder, were Tapu Koko and Incineroar. And when it comes to C captaincy, as a reminder as well, is that all of the mons which are named as C captains can also run C status moves. So that's something to keep in mind as we go. And the first mon what I wanted to build around going versus JDMI happens to be my Mega Evolution being the Mega Pidgeot, and it's gonna be running Hurricane, Toxic, Refresh and Roost, enough speed to outspeed Raikou. Then I bumped a little bit of HP, which helps me taking hits from Mega Venusaur as I would like, and then rest on the special attack cause I didn't feel like I need to invest on anywhere else or try to be cute with them. I figured that it's better to hit as hard as possible, and with having max special attack or this amount of special attack should not make any difference on the cogs what I did on the damage output and the 2-hit KOs or 1-hit KOs or 3-hit KOs. So kind of basically that's the idea with the spread itself, not too much to really talk about it. Mainly the idea with the set itself is that with Hurricane I hit everything pretty hard except things like Raikou and Cresselia, and those are the things what I carry Toxic for, and then I have Refresh and Roost to keep this thing around as long as possible. And I'm utilizing this team what I built it basically make Mega Pidgeot shine as best as possible with the other support what I have for it and the other offensive members which can lure in certain things that Mega Pidgeot likes to coming on, and can also deal with other mons on his team to break down them for me for my Mega Pidgeot for itself. So that's kind of the idea as you're gonna see throughout this team build. And then we're gonna be having Claydol as the second member of the team, and Claydol is gonna be kind of like a universal mon in a sense that it's all being there as a physical wall for his physical threats what he possesses, but it's also there to turn into offensive if I get the opportunity with Sword Dance versus his better mons. And then we have EQ and Facade, which hits relatively hard throughout this entire roster, and Roost for recovery. The IVs wise, we have enough attack to Oko, Bishop from full if it's the standard set and no Air Balloon or Sugarberry, enough speed to outspeed Adam and Bishop, and then we have bulk investment to avoid being 1-hit KO'd by the Raikou's Hidden Power Ice, as long as it's not calm-minded up by one stage or more, or as long as it's not item boosting like Choice Specs or Life Orb or Expert Belt. So that is the idea there. Then we have Tapu Koko as the third member what we are gonna be bringing into this game with Ferium Z. Claydol obviously holds the Toxic off for its poisoning ability, but Tapu Koko, Ferium Z, basically what Tapu Koko is here for is to provide me a switching to Tapu Fini, get rid of the terrain for me, which I really want to have for my Pidgeot's Toxic to be as efficient as possible to catch up the Raikou on the switch. Then we have Roost for recovery, cause this is my most likely switching to Tapu Fini in any scenario. Then we have Volt Switch for momentum, Dazzling Gleam to hit the guard stomp and everything else which I'm not clicking my electric stab on as hard as possible. And then we have Thunderbolt as kind of like a stronger electric stab to hit the other things a lot harder than we would do with Volt Switch. And the Ferium C is there mainly to provide us a guarantee OK on guard stomp from full as long as it's done like Rosary Berry or something like that. Mainly it's there for that and potentially hit other things harder than I would be hitting with my electric stab or neutral Dazzling Gleam without the seam of itself. Enough speed to outspeed Raikou, and then very basic start with max special attack and rest on HP. I didn't feel like I needed to go more specific with the IV spread other than that. Then we have Tentacruel as the fourth member of our team. Tentacruel is there for doing very standard things what Tentacruel normally does, which is hazard control with rapid spin. Then we have Haze to make sure that any potential setup options, which he has quite plenty of if you start really looking at it, I have that option as there as a last resort of move to kind of slow him down in that progress to try to do that. And then I have Skull just because it's my better water stab to run in this matchup to just potentially burn things like Cobalion or Bison would be nice. Potentially burning Mega Venusaur could be nice or anything like that. And Acid Spray is there, not with the Haze obviously, but it's there that if I'm not forced to go for Haze any moment, I can then use Acid Spray to kind of cripple down the mons that would be affected by it. So that is the idea with Tentacruel. Enough speed to outspeed the Adamant Bicep just like the Gliscor was. Then we have Ferrothorn as the fifth member of our team. Ferrothorn is there to give us a switching to Raikou, Cresselia or any other members which aren't carrying any kind of coverage to hit us too hard. And we have enough SPDF to avoid being two-shotted by standard Mega Venusaur's Hidden Power Fire, which means it's not especially offensive invested. And then we have basically rest on the attack invested, and then we have dual stab, spikes just to hazard stack potentially, because hazard stacking is another way for me to make my Mega Pidgeot and Tapu Koko core shine even better as my offensive core and punish him for the switches. And then I have Leech Seed as a last move. Off the chance I'm able to get them affected by something and then recover health with this thing, or with my other members of my team if I'm forced to swap out. So that is the idea there. And then the last member of the team will be Yuxi, which is gonna be my stealth rocker because Gliscor and Ferrothorn wasn't carrying them. So I can kinda fulfill the hazard stacking route what I wanted to go with. So we are basically having like a very bulky balanced team with hazard stacking options. Utilizing Tapu Koko and Mega Pidgeot as a core offensively wise, and then Gliscor is there as optional if it gets the opportunity to break down the team. But about the Yuxi itself, it's there to just outspeed the Bishop yet again, similar speed benchmark. It's there to give me another physical defensive pivot for his physical offensive threats. Off the chance I need to have it there. Then the light screen is there to give me some extra bulk on the special side for few turns. Even though I'm not running likely, I think it's still without it worth enough for me other than any other moves. And then U-turn is just for my momentum and psychic for just the stab itself to hit things like Mega Venusaur and Cobalion and got some combined together as hard as possible with the Yuxi itself. So that is the team. The most what I expected the most and I really emphasized the most my team building on were Mega Venusaur, Raikou, Tapu Fini, Garchomp, Cresselia, and then the last mode would be between Arcanine, Cobalion and Bishop. Those are the modes which I'm kind of looking between that what 6E will bring. Leavanny and Claydol, if they come, I'm not losing my sleep if one of them come or both of them. I have ways to deal with them with this team already. What I'm using, and especially Claydol's case, it's a fucking Claydol. It should not be doing anything versus any kind of team because it's so weak, and we know Claydol should pretty much suck most of the time in majority of normal draft leagues unless you're doing a lower draft league. But going to the matchup itself and going to see how the battle actually turns out, we can actually go and see that what our opponent actually decides to bring. And surprisingly enough, he did decide to bring the Claydol over the Garchomp. what I was expecting of. And then rest of Cresselia, Raikou, Mega Venusaur, Tapu Fini and Cobalion. So those are the 6 mons what he decided to bring. Like I said, only Claydol was a surprise to me, but it's kind of relief in that sense, cause then I don't have to deal with anything else, which I was more afraid of. And it kind of gives me potential information that Tapu Fini might not run Defog and Cobalion may not be forced to run Stealth Rocks either. So that's the initial thoughts of what I was seeing in front of me. And I decided to lead with Ferrothorn because it matches up the best versus majority of the things. And the things I want to swap out potentially I have proper responses for, which would be, for example, Mega Venusaur to scout the Hidden Power Fire, and Cobalion I have plenty of responses naturally for that thing. If necessary, I need to swap out versus it on turn 1. So that is the thought on there. He's gonna be leading off with his Mega Venusaur, as you're gonna see, and this is where I'm gonna be scouting that Hidden Power Fire potentially being on it and the damage output from the Mega Venusaur. But because he swaps out, that basically tells me that he probably doesn't have Hidden Power Fire, or he tries to convince that he doesn't, and he goes to Claydol expecting me, I guess, to go for the hazards. Or he wants to get this activated because he's a fucking weakness policy, Claydol. Like, I was like, what is going on here? What am I actually facing here? And then I took my time to see that what kind of damage that was with the U-turn, and that tells me that it's max HP. And from the Ice Beam to my Ferrothorn, as I'm trying to figure out what this thing is in front of me, that tells me he's not max special attack investment either. Which is kind of wild to me already, besides the weakness policy being on it, to be honest. But I do make a proper play to scout the Hidden Power Fire, and also covering the play of him going for the Earth Power if he didn't have it. To go into my Yuxi, get up the light screen, and then I basically can go for the Stealth Rocks, because now I'm basically nullified this quote-unquote threat with the weakness policy being the Claydol, and he's gonna actually go for the Stealth Rocks himself too. On that turn when I went for the light screen first. So he's revealed so far to have Ice Beam, Hidden Power Fire and Stealth Rocks, and then he swaps out, and I'm like I'm getting mind blown basically already 2 times in quite a few early turns. Like, this is turn 5 and I'm already like twice being like, what the heck is going on? What am I facing here? Why did he swap out his Claydol which had weakness policy activated? Even though technically it cannot touch Yuxi probably too much. And it tells me that he doesn't really have anything to hit it. I would have guessed he would have still stayed in. But he swapped it to Tapu Fini as I went for the Stealth Rocks, and I didn't risk Tapu Fini being faster than my Yuxi, so I just hard swapped instead of U-turning into my Tapu Koko, which was my primary response to Tapu Fini, always defensively wise and offensively wise. So here I take my time to roost as he went for the Nature's Madness. I went for the Volt Switch when the Mega Venusaur initially came in, and then he, I guess, baited me going for the Volt Switch on the following turn. It stops me there on my track, and because I don't know if this thing has Earth Power, and that's basically what I expected to have, I'm going to the Yuxi to cover that play and basically get up a light screen if I need to, and then he reveals his last move, which is like Rapid Spin. I was like, what the heck is going on? This guy brought HP Fire, Ice Beam, Rapid Spin and Stealth Rocks Claydol with especially defensive and weakness policy, and I was like, what? What is going on? More power to you, this guy being creative and finding his lure to Gliscor Ferrothorn Core. I guess that would have been his idea with it, but man, I did not see that coming. I don't think anyone could have seen that coming, and I was like, what the heck is... You can kind of tell that even if this is post-commentary, this is basically me throughout the whole game, especially the early on, how I was reacting every single time I saw that Claydol in front of me once I knew more and more about it. But in any case, going back to what is actually going on, the Raikou came in on my Yuxi when I got the light screen up after the Claydol Rapid Spin on me. I didn't take the time to Stealth Rock on the following turn when the Raikou came in because I didn't want to get a Shadow Ball on my Yuxi even behind the light screen. So I went to my Ferrothorn, took literally only 8% for that, which is kinda hilarious that it only does that little even from a Raikou. Cause even though it's not stab, it's still a fucking Raikou. You would assume it does at least a little bit more. But that tells just the light screen effect and the Ferrothorn being so specially bulky naturally. So In any cases, I went for the power whip. Even after this PDF drop, I knew I'd take the hidden power fire. And then when he went to the Cobalion, I got a crit, which I don't think is gonna matter. And afterwards that I wasn't letting him have any free time to close combat me. So I went to the Yuxi, I took the Iron Head, and now we are here with the Tapu Fini. And this is gonna kind of repeat a few times, I guess, at least. Maybe one more time when I do the same progress versus this Tapu Fini. Bringing my Tapu Koko in, getting up the roost, and initially I don't really ever care if this my opponent tries to do the same plays as earlier with going to Mega Venusaur and maybe double back into the Claydol itself. I'm not caring about the Claydol anymore, what it's gonna do, especially now that I know what 4 moves it has, and it cannot touch my Tapu Koko too hard apparently for whatever reason. So yeah, I'm just gonna go for the Volt Switch, and because of these Stealth Rocks are still up, I decided that I'm gonna go into my Tentacruel, take my time to Rapid Spin away, and make sure that the Mega Pidgeot doesn't have to take both Stealth Rocks and a potential Sludge Bomb or any other attacking move he would have gone for. At that point, I don't think I need to rush at this point. And I'm doing a pretty decent job in that, just doing the best possible plays, and that's kind of how I vision myself playing out. This is a team that I need to be patient with and put myself in a scenario throughout this game that I vision being able to do with this team. And now, as the Cresselia came in when I Rapid Spin it, I went to the Ferrothorn cover. Most of his plays he could go for. Either Beam Psychic Stab, either going for Calm Mind, either going for Toxic or Thunder Wave. Everything is covered with Ferrothorn. And even if he Thunder Waves me, that's the only thing what it does is obviously it's gonna potentially get me fully paralyzed on a turn or two whenever I try to go for a move with Ferrothorn. And then he reveals the Hidden Power Fire, which I was okay with if he happens to have it. At least then I know it, and I took it relatively well, as you saw, because Cresselia is fucking weak. As we know about Cresselia itself, it's a fat as hell, but it's also weak. So I knew that I take the one Hidden Power Fire if it's coming into my way. And then I can go into Yuxi and start playing different ways around this Cresselia once I know more about its set. Here I go for the Light Screen, not caring if the Thunder Wave actually connects on me. You're gonna see that it actually misses, but I was okay with Yuxi getting paralyzed, because yet again as Ferrothorn, I don't really care about it. It shouldn't really cripple me too much, barring me getting fully paralyzed. And Cobalion potentially tried to Iron Head Flinch down, but I wasn't too worried about even that. At that point, I just wanted to get the Light Screen up, going to the Tapu Koko expecting the Thunder Wave now and be immune by it. But he goes for the Hidden Power Fire expecting my Ferrothorn to come in on the potential Thunder Wave, I guess. And I guess hitting as hard as possible to Tapu Koko, but as you saw behind the Light Screen, it literally did nothing with the Hidden Power Fire, which is not stab and it's a fucking Cresselia. So here I'm able to basically go for the Volt Switch, and once the Mega Venusaur came in, and now I'm basically able to finally put myself in a position where I can put more offensive pressure towards him. And here I kinda expected him to be forced to switch out considering the situation he was in, and I went for the Toxic, covering the Raikou coming in. And even if this Cresselia came in and he had the Super Berry as he did, I didn't care about it. Even though I could have, I guess, finish it off immediately with Hurricane, because my initial thought is that even though if I'm able to Toxic this Cresselia, it's not a threat to me anymore. Even if it's able to heal itself back up, once it's on a timer, I don't care about it. And Raikou is a lot easier for me to deal as well if it's being Toxic. So that's the initial idea there with my play. And then I went to the Tapu Koko, because now I knew I can wall it, because it's been on a timer, it cannot touch me, he cannot cripple me with Thunder Wave, I have recovery. Everything was going for me when I went to the Tapu Koko after that Cresselia was being Toxic. And now when the Claydol came in with the Volt Switch, I didn't really care about it, because I knew it's not going to have Earth Power. So I can go for the Dazzling Gleam. The idea was that I can potentially 2-shot it or 3-shot it, depending on what kind of rolls I get, but because I got the crit, it actually means that there's no risk of getting any bad rolls at this point anymore. And because he went for the Stealth Rocks first, it means that I was able to keep the Stealth Rocks up on his side of the field and he's not able to get rid of them. And these Stealth Rocks I can get immediately away from my side of the field, because now when this Mega Venusaur comes in, I get up my Volt Switch, going to my tentacle. I don't care what he does, even if he goes for synthesis, if he has EQ at this point of time and tries to go for it to hit my tentacle and go, which was in. I can still take that and go for the rapid spin and cover the fact that now he won't be able to get up hazards on my side of the field. Unless he's running double rockers with Cobalion 2, which speaking of is coming in on this turn. And here I decided to stay in because I haven't seen anything from this Cobalion at this point of time besides it having Iron Head. So I figured that I'm gonna just stay in and go for this Skull. Even if he reveals Zen Headbutt, I can take it. And to be fair, he actually said right now that he misclicked. So you can kind of expect now he's gonna be having the Zen Headbutt and he's gonna go for it. And I'm gonna actually give him that chance to hit me with it because I kind of felt bad that he misclicked. And also I didn't feel like I lose too much spike because you can tell I can take it quite well. And this just gives me a chance to finish off one of his remaining offensive threats. And now he only has 4 mons left: Cresselia, Raikou, Mega Venusaur and Tapu Fini, which I'm feeling quite confident I can deal with them. The only problem right now would be potentially the Raikou, but I have still responses to it. And I only need some chip on it, so Pidgeot or the Tapu Koko can finish it off, and I know Claydol can take any one hit from full as long as it's not able to set up. But now I make my play going to Ferrothorn versus this Raikou as he reveals to be Sea Rain Dance. So I'm like, alright, can see a little bit more versatility and creativity from his behalf with his sets. And Sea Rain Dance Raikou, I guess it's been seen before when it's able to run the Sea status moves. So it's a cool set to run, nothing really too special, but it kind of works out for me that this kind of covers the fact that even if he had Hidden Power Fire or whatever reason for my Ferrothorn, he literally cannot touch me. I was safe to go for Power Whip first to get the bigger damage off, and then I can go for safe Gyro Ball because it should be doing enough to weaken that or kill that Raikou from the health it was at, and then I do more to the Mega Venusaur. And because of the rain is up, I had potential chance to beat this thing 1v1 because as you can tell, the synthesis is being crippled by it, and I did so much with my Gyro Ball with my Ferrothorn. But I opted to take the longer and safer route, and I guess smarter route as well, by starting getting my spikes up, because now he shouldn't have anything to get rid of them unless he runs double hazard remover options with Tapu Fini also having the defog, because the Claydol had the rapid spin, and because the Claydol was gone, there's no way for him ideally then for him to get rid of these. So this way I kinda already kill off the Raikou from the back, which still was a decent amount of health, but because of these stealth rocks and all the spikes I'm able to get up all 3 layers of them, that thing is dead. Tapu Fini is going to be 2-shotted now easily by my Mega Pidgeot's Hurricane. So the only thing what he has really left for my Mega Pidgeot is basically Cresselia taking 1 hit from it, and Mega Venusaur be able to take 1 hit from it, and the Tapu Fini as well. But nothing can avoid being 2-shotted by that thing anymore at this point. So I was playing towards the late game with these few turns here. As he revealed to have Hidden Power, but it wasn't Hidden Power Fire as we were able to tell. So I expect to be Hidden Power Ice. I guess that would make more sense after Hidden Power Fire to hit the Gliscor harder than Grass Stab would have been able to do with Mega Venusaur. And here I'm just gonna go into Yuxi, get up my light screen, and this is where I kind of want to get my Mega Pidgeot in yet again safely and start keep clicking buttons and start to kind of, I guess, wrap out the game as quickly as possible I can. And that's kind of where I'm playing towards now, because now I've been able to eliminate and cripple down few of his mons, and I have my hazards up. I'm able to put myself in a position that I eventually saw myself able to put myself into if everything goes right. And now we're gonna see that the slot bomb, because of the light screen and the little HP investment I have on my Mega Pidgeot, is gonna only do 25. So here I could have technically gone for the Roost, but I felt like Hurricane was the better play overall, because he covered the play of him staying in for whatever reason. And if he didn't sack the Raikou, anything else was also being 2-shotted. And speaking of being 2-shotted, you're gonna see now the effect of Tapu Fini taking all this hazard damage prior to coming in, because it was at full when it came before it came in on the hazard. So because of those hazards, as you can tell, I'm basically 2-shotting this thing. And this is kind of where I start to, I guess, play around too much with my food, if you could say that. And the first part of me kind of like playing around here and not, I guess, maybe most efficient place is this roost play here. I thought I can be a little bit cheeky and try to gain more health back in exchange of getting rid of this Tapu Fini, but as you can tell, he went for his better move, going for Nature's Madness and keeping me as low as possible. So in this exchange I kinda actually lost like 4% of health where I was initially at with this Mega Pizza versus the Tapu Fini when he was hitting me with Ice Beam etc. earlier. And here, instead of going to Tapu Koko, which would have been honestly my better play, I went for the Roost first, which sort of worked out for me. My first initial thought is just to rack up the toxic damage and make Mega Pizza just stay here and beat everything 1v1 at this point, because ideally he would be able to do that, because even if he Thunder Waves me, I have to refresh, I can roost up any damage, I have it on timer. So that's the initial thought there. Then I get, I guess, a little bit of impatient. I tried to kill it already from this point. Ideally I should have yet again gone into Tapu Koko, that's always a safer play. But the other option would have been just keep roosting at that point and let the Toxic rack up to the point that there was no way for me to live that. And if he went for that Thunder Wave, I would have eventually revealed the Refresh and hopefully got it off. But because how I played that sequence of events on those following turns, I actually end up having a paralyzed Pidgeot versus this Mega Pidgeot. Versus this Mega Venusaur, I meant to say. And there I kind of tried to see that if he was just giving up the game already and was going for the attacking move, and I could have finished it there off, but he's gonna attempt to make his best efforts to still get a 1 kill off and prevent a 6-0, which is a fair play from his behalf. So he went for the Synthesis. I wasn't able to finish it off with Hurricane, and therefore I guess I finally decided to do something else than try to make Kevin shine. I'm basically being really soft on the Mega Pizza and try to do as much work as I wanted to do from the team building pointing on going into this game. And now I'm kind of like, alright, well, I'm gonna get up my light screen. I try to finish this thing off first with the Psychic, depending on how much I do, and if I cannot, I'll try yet again do the Mega Pizza thing and let Mega Pizza get as many kills as possible in this game. But we have to wait and see how these turns kind of turn out, I guess, that if I'm able to do that, or do I have to finally pull the trigger and be a little bit more efficient with this late game, which honestly I feel like, looking back on it, I feel like I should have done that, and if I would have been able to do these turns at the late game, I would have done them a little bit differently. But in any cases, I went to the Mega Pizza as he reveals the lead seed. I guess he revealed it a little bit earlier already. With versus the Yuxi, but in any cases he has Sludge Bomb, Leech Seed, Hidden Power Ice and the Synthesis, so technically Tentacruel should have been already be able to wall this thing. But I tried to get the Refresh off as I get paralyzed, so I was like, alright, Kevin, get back into the ball and in the back. And this is not working out as I envisioned. For you to kill these things, part of being my fault how I play it out. So finally, I'm trying to be efficient with this and getting the 6-0 what I'm going for. I didn't want to give up on difference, so that's why I swapped out. I initially tried to, because this is a tournament, this is my first game, and I have the opportunity to get a 6-0. I'm playing towards to get that, because I don't know how tight the potential race for the next round made up happening, and any differential might come into play. So now I'm just being like, alright Kenny, go out there, as you spray this thing down. I know it only had like 1 Synthesis left at this point, he cannot touch me. If he goes for the lead seed, I know he's crippling himself while doing that, and I'm blowing his PDF to the point that everything can kill after this if I choose to switch out at any point. So I'm kind of basically trying to eventually finish this thing off, and I believe on the following turn we are able to finally end this game off. 60 turns of game sequence here. I could have made that late game go a little bit faster, then end up being the 60 turns, but either way, I guess I can't really complain because I'm able to get the maximum result of not only getting a win, but also the 6-0 differential as well along with it. good game to JDMI. He was a good sport after this game, not being really too salty. So shoutouts for you for being a good sport, honestly. And I already mentioned this after the game, don't be too harsh on yourself. I'm sure you're gonna bounce back and be able to perform better. And shoutouts for you to try something different, like the weakness policy Claydol was something worth to see for you and something for me to kinda experience along the way. It was a one heck of an experience to say at least, to deal with that Claydol and kinda eventually learn about it, said that what it was for. But he said that he wanted to learn the Ferrothorn Clayscore core and kill those off, and he was very heavily prepared for Clayscore with his Hidden Power Ices and Ice Beams and everything what he carried. For that thing he was afraid of Clayscore, so unfortunately for me I wasn't able to even get it out of the field as I saw his set, so I guess that's alright. I definitely take it. And next game, the second game which I'm gonna be uploading eventually will be versus Carney Hobo, and I'm gonna attempt to upload it throughout this weekend because the battle has already happened. So it's just a matter of me getting the layout ready, which by the way have been done by Slackout, and his Twitter account will be down below in the description. He has done a phenomenal job with these thumbnails and the layout stuff, so go and tweet at him and say that he did a phenomenal job. As you can tell, he's a good friend of mine from another league which I met him at, and he happens to be Finnish too, so he's been a really great help for me because I cannot do this kind of work with the layouts, as you may have been able to tell from my very long experience from, well, the experience what I have earlier with the UBC and the other uploads. I wasn't too efficient with my layout stuff and graphics. But in any cases, time to wrap out this video. Thank you for watching. Remember to answer the question of the day and stick tuned for the upcoming games from my point of view, and subscribe if you haven't yet. But until next time, I'll be see you guys later.